Hello and welcome to Block by Block Quilting. Today's the big day. We have finished constructing our sets of 6 blocks and are ready to piece together our quilt top. Page 2 of the PDF shows in what order the blocks need to be sewn together. For instance, in row 1 we have block 1, block 3, block 6, block 3, block 4, and block 6. It's important to pay attention to the orientation of each block in the row. For instance, we have 2 block 6s in row 1. One is pointed with the red pointed up, and one is turned so the red is pointing down. So we need to pay special attention to every block in every row and make sure we have it turned correctly. Thanks for joining me today. Let's sew together. Here I have blocks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 laid out. Got my pattern. And I've got the first row laid out, but I haven't turned the blocks around. I just placed them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, in the bottom right corner, put a pin. So I always know where the bottom right corner is. So this is the red's on the bottom. So this is my bottom right corner. The red's on the top. This is my bottom right corner. And red's on the bottom. Oh, pretty much flipping everything. This is the bottom right corner. And the blue's on the top. And the red is going down. So we'll do bottom right corner. Bottom right corner. So what I'll do when I piece them together, I'll piece these 2 together, these 2 together, these 2 together, and then piece the sets together. So I can sew with chain sewing, which is a lot faster. So I'm going to stack them up in the order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put a little pin in, or a little, put them together. That's going to be row number 1. Okay, let's work on row number 2. Okay, we did it. Let's go sew it together. So on these blocks, if you can see here, we've got these little, they're not quite square. So what I'm doing so that it'll be easier to sew if we just straighten up these edges. So I've pretty much worked through all of my, this is stack 5, so I've got stack 5 and 6 to go, and we just straighten this up. So I've got a center line here I can go off of, and this line is shorter than this line, so we're gonna straighten it up from here. That one's pretty good. This one. So, see, it ends up being the edges are straighter, so it'll be easier to sew them together. Bottom corner, back in the stack. Okay, so we just have to do this one. And I'm not cutting a lot off. As you can see, this is the first 5 stacks, and these are the little edge pieces that I've trimmed off. So we're not making huge trims on these blocks by any stretch of the imagination. We're just getting those edges straightened up. So what we want to do before we start sewing is we want to match up these center seams here. And then just put another one down here on the end. Match up those corners. And then we can start sewing. So again, we just do our 1/4 inch seam. And sew our 2 blocks together. And then I just double check my pattern as I go along, just to make sure, because we're gonna sew these. We sewed these 2 blocks together, and these 2 blocks together, and these 2 blocks together. I want to make sure I just double check the pattern, just to make sure I'm getting the correct blocks sewn together on the second pass through. So again, we'll match up the seam in the center. And the corners. So we've sewn all of our rows. I've laid it out on the bed, and now we're going to sew our rows together. So let's finish this quilt up.